Hello, this is Pixel Freak, and we're doing part 28 of the Final Fantasy Dimensions walkthrough. So if I sound a little funny on this part and probably the next couple, I got a cold right now. Actually just getting over it, so my voice is a little bit kind of raspy sounding. You might hear me cough or sneeze here and there as well. So we are back in the Feywood Forest, or whatever it's called. It's kind of magical forest. For the most part, though, this is a pretty bland piece of the game. You can see I missed a treasure box there, and I go back to get it. So this piece can actually be done earlier in the game, and for me, I actually did it that way. I went back and edited everything, and so it appears to happen all in the right order, which was a horrible process to edit that. But I actually played this before I even got Shiva, and then went back through and when I actually had to do the part for the story, I just kind of went back through it real quick with all the treasure boxes empty. So you're seeing actual footage from both times I played through it, just edited together. The difference is there's like this little lake up here that you get to, and there's this family there. When you go there before the story tells you to go, right here, this is all empty. So this is actually the footage of me coming back now. There's a little fight here, and you know, this is a pretty uneventful little section of the game. There's not a whole lot happens here, and the enemies are really weak, especially if you've already picked up Shiva by this point, because that particular dungeon has a lot heftier enemies in it. And now you've got 5 characters, even though one of them's a toad, but nonetheless, it helps. So this is actually a piece that is reminiscent, or it's kind of a throwback to the first Final Fantasy. You actually get kind of this bottled water item, it's a key item, I guess, that allows you to go to the underwater temple in that game. This is essentially the same mechanic they're using here, where you get this bottle of water, and you're going to use it to go into the underwater temple here in a moment. Which is kind of silly when you think about it. A bottle of water, I guess if it's magic, I guess that makes sense. Of course, I take my sweet-ass time, and I'm like, no, I don't care that Timmy's in the cyclone. Whatever, Timmy, you got yourself into that mess. Whatever, you stay there. Don't worry about this fight. This fight is really tame. There's not a lot that happens here. These enemies aren't specifically difficult. Or particularly, I guess that's the word I was looking for. These enemies aren't particularly difficult. They're using my toad against me. I find that's becoming more common now, that enemies are using Confuse. For the most part, I tend to ignore it. This game deals with Confuse a little bit better than other games, where if your allies hit you, it does a lot less damage than it normally would against the enemies. So if you have a character that's hitting for like 400 damage or so, and he hits one of your characters, or one of your allies, the damage is like half. He'll hit for 150 or 200 or something like that. It's kind of nice. Most of the time, though, I'll just ignore it unless it's a really necessary character, or I'm fearing what they're gonna do. My black mage gets confused. Sometimes that's a little scary. It'd be interesting to see a summoner get confused and then turn around and summon against your own team. I don't know if it can do that. Questions like that are dangerous, though. I remember in Final Fantasy III, the Super Nintendo version, in the US, you get a character named Realm, and she can sketch enemies, and basically it creates a clone of them. They perform one move, and then the clone is gone, or the sketch is gone. Well, I got crazy idea that I was going to sketch an invisible enemy, because how could you sketch an invisible enemy? Well, my game had a catastrophic meltdown and all the graphics went crazy, and all of a sudden all my items were missing, and it was pretty awesome. It was actually a glitch in the game, and if you did it, I actually played with it for a while, and depending on what background you did it in, there's several backdrops in that game for your fights. I think there's like 6 or 7 total in the whole game. But depending on what backdrop you did it on, if you could get the game to a save spot without the game freezing, which it became very volatile after you exploited this glitch, you could save the game and then reload it, and the glitch would be gone. But you'd have all these different items in your bag, and if you did it at the right background, you'd have like some really epic items. You'd lose all your current items, but you'd have some really epic items in there in their place. So the rest of this video is just pretty much cleaning out the forest. At the end, you can walk out here by this Moogle, and that'll take you out to the north side. If you walk back out the south where you came in, that'll take you to the south. I think I eventually teleport out, but I'm not sure. I don't remember necessarily. I guess it depends on which one I edited, because when I went through it the first time, I just went out the other side. But when I went out it the second time I was in here, I teleported out. So it looks like I think I'm gonna walk out. Kind of funny. Almost defeats the purpose of me going through to edit everything by me sitting here and telling you how I edited 2 pieces together. But in watching it back through, this is the first time that I've watched all the edited footage back through. I edited it pretty well. It seems pretty cohesive to me. So that's the end of this part. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, this has been Pixel Freak.